Hello, I'm Michaela Carr, and I'm going to be answering these questions for our discussion post for the guest house poem. The first question is, how do I interpret the poem? So the poem essentially for me is just basically talking about how, like it said in the description, if our bodies are, or if our being human is just like the actual guest house I called it the vacation home, because I just wanted to think about like guests coming in, and those guests were actually our emotions. And I think the poem talks a lot about not only just welcoming all guests, just inviting them in, letting them be there and be present, acknowledging their presence, talking about the emotions. So just acknowledging those emotions, no matter what they may be, even if it's fear, anxiety, just worry, depression, just welcoming all those feelings. I always say, I actually started therapy recently this year, just for like some anxiety and depression and like racing thoughts. But one thing I've learned is that like the only way to really face your emotions or to deal with those feelings that you don't really want to deal with is to actually acknowledge that they're there and say, hey, like I'm just tripping, they're here, I'm feeling them, and nothing's happening, like nothing's going wrong. I know for me, like I had really bad anxiety, and I'm a perfectionist, so I felt like when like one little tiny thing didn't go my way, like the world ended, like, and not just in a brat type of way, but like literally, if I couldn't get everything done on my to-do list, I felt like disgusting, like I almost hated myself for something. Like it was crazy, but you just kind of have to let those emotions come in, and just sit with them, acknowledge it. And sometimes I purposely not get everything done just so I can realize, hey, I'm still okay with myself. I didn't get everything done. The anxiety's here, the worry's here, but I'm still alive. Like I can let that emotion come and sit with me, and I can invite it in, and then when it's ready and it's time to go, it leaves, and I'm still okay. So just recognizing that. Another question was, what emotions visit you most often? Why do you think that is? I kind of answered that. Just the anxiety and the worry, because I'm a perfectionist. I've been this way my whole life, but I'm also a procrastinating perfectionist. So I like to make it perfect, but I also like to wait till the last minute. So yeah, just the worry and the anxiety. And I think those visit me most often just because I constantly put that pressure on myself. So I could dial that back a little. I'm working on it every day. Another question was, what benefits could there be in welcoming unpleasant emotions? Like I said, once you welcome those emotions in, you kind of give them a place to sit instead of trying to run from them all the time. Running from your emotions is exhausting. Like the more you do it, I think it just kind of digs you in a hole for yourself because you're not really facing the issue. You're just gonna kind of it's kind of how I say like people treat their issues instead of actually going to the root cause or of preventing the issue from happening in the first place. Like instead of running from those emotions, eventually you just gotta kind of like, hey, I'm here, you're here. Like, what are we gonna do? Because I'm not gonna keep running. So just facing those emotions, I think that's the good part about having those negative emotions like anxiety, worry, is that you can eventually face them. And once you do, you're a lot better off in the end because you realize, hey, it's not as bad as I thought it was. Like once I faced it, it's here, I can deal with it. I'm working on ways to manage and cope with it. And that's eventually how you grow. So I think the best way to overcome is to face it head on. Can you relate to the feeling described in the line, violently sweeps away your house empty of its furniture? Have you ever felt this way? Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. I definitely have felt that way. It says violently sweeping into your house and emptying of its furniture. And to me, if we're describing emotions, I'm somebody who like hates talking about emotions, but I'm trying. So I think it basically just means like when your emotions come over you, they kind of just take over you. And I've had that happen too. It's just like where you just feel kind of almost stunned, like you can't really do anything because you're so hindered and like stuck in the way you're feeling, and you're stuck in your head and you're feeling like all these emotions of like either depression, worry, sadness, anxiety. Like you just kind of feel stuck, like you really can't do anything because all you can do is worry or stress or be depressed or so sweeping you up and taking all your furniture, as I think just kind of emptying you out, just draining you of that energy, of that happiness, which is probably like the furniture is like your little pieces of you that you have in your guest home. But I think just emptying you and sweeping you of your furniture is probably just that feeling of being drained and like emotionally just tired and like fed up with that feeling of anxiety or worriness or depression. And how might I apply the message to my daily life? Just basically inviting all my feelings in, I think is the message of the poem. So just being open to all feelings. So being open to those happy and successful and, happy-go-lucky feelings just as much as as I acknowledge those feelings of depression or anxiety. Just because I may not like the feeling doesn't mean I don't need to feel it. So, you know, if I'm maybe feeling a little stressed or feeling a little worried, I can't just run from it. I can't just be like, oh, I'm stressed, but I'm just gonna go do this and it'll make me feel better, because when I get done, the stress is still gonna be there. So just acknowledging all my emotions and welcoming them fully and dealing with them instead of just kind of running from them, I think is the message. So, yeah.